Non-stop local news for Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. This is News Channel 8.
On Friday, President Obama nominated Jeh Johnson as the Secretary of Homeland Security. But what does the pick say about the administration's view on national security? Joining me now live this afternoon for some answers is Ryan Mauro. He's a national security analyst with the Clarion Project. There's been talk that the focus will shift from border security back to anti-terrorism efforts. Is that valid?
Well, I think it's all part of the same thing. I think that what this pick says is that the Obama administration is essentially doubling down on their counterterrorism policy, but they wanted a legal professional that can explain articulately how this fits into their legal framework. Because right now, the big issue at the Department of Homeland Security and in the Obama administration's foreign policy is things like drone strikes on Americans. How does that fit with the Constitution? Right. The NSA issues. And so it makes sense that you'd want to have the top lawyer for the Pentagon come over to the Department of Homeland Security so that he can explain that.
Not only is the top lawyer, but Jeh Johnson has close ties to money raising for the Obama campaign. Could that hurt the nomination process? Everything, you know, if you follow the money, you see where these people come from. They were very big in the Obama campaign, bundling money together. How about that?
Well, I think that it's going to be brought up, but will it derail the nomination? I don't think it will, because this sort of dealing does go on for some time. This is a personal friend of President Obama, so he will say not only does he have the experience, but I know him on a personal level, and that's a good thing. I think some of the criticism is going to be on his lack of management experience, because yes, he was the top lawyer for the Pentagon, but has he managed a giant bureaucracy like the Department of Homeland Security? You have to remember, that government body was formed with the specific intention of helping to manage the overall bureaucracy, so this is really a position for a manager.
You hit the nail on the head, because this is a huge bureaucracy. What's ahead for Homeland Security? You start these government agencies, they never go away. We've created this monster in Homeland Security. How is it going to be managed under him? Any differently or any better?
Well, we don't know exactly, and that's really the big question, is that there are so many vacancies in the Department of Homeland Security that I'm actually more concerned about the people that are going to be in charge of implementing the policy, not just the guy at the top, because you need to delegate responsibilities. And if you look at the track record of some people that have been brought into the Department of Homeland Security, it's concerning. Over at our website, we've written about individuals that are even pro-Muslim Brotherhood that are actually working as advisors for the Department of Homeland Security. So there's something going wrong with the process there.
How do you fix it? I mean, you've got, with Homeland Security, you've got everything from Border Patrol agents, you've got TSA, you've got cops, you've got all these people under that huge umbrella. It's almost unmanageable.
To some degree it is.
How do you fix this?
Well, I think the first thing that we have to do is have a dividing line between those that are for the Islamists, those are Muslim forces that are radical, that take their faith and turn it into a political doctrine, and those that don't. Because right now you have individuals that are even pro-Muslim Brotherhood, like I said, they're advising the Department of Homeland Security, and that's why some of our foreign policy and some of our counterterrorism efforts overseas are starting to trip up, because you don't have that dividing line between friend and foe. It's all about Al-Qaeda, and I think that the overall strategy has to focus on the ideology.
From what you know, was Jeh Johnson the #1 pick all along? Were there other choices coming up once Janet Napolitano decided to leave?
Well, the individual that had the most rumors going out about him was the chief of the NYPD, Ray Kelly. He had bipartisan endorsements, Democrats and Republicans, very effective official, but there were a lot of organizations actually linked to the Muslim Brotherhood that were ferociously protesting and manipulating the things that the NYPD did and misrepresenting everything. And so that was a fight that the Obama administration, I think, just did not want to get into.
Conservatives aren't necessarily happy because they see the new focus going to national security vis-a-vis anti-terrorism efforts versus border control. Are they justified in that concern?
I think that's always going to be a concern, because if you remember the terrorist group Al-Shabaab that carried out that horrific terrorist attack in Kenya, we know from arresting some of their associates that they have smuggled hundreds of Somalis into the United States over the Mexican border. So there's some criticism there, but you can't focus just geographically on one area. You really need a strategy that tackles them overseas and also here at home.
You do national security for the Clarion Project. What is that?
That is a nonprofit organization that studies radical Islam and issues of national security all around the world, particularly what's going on here at home.
Ryan Mauro, our guest, live here on News Channel 8 with the very latest on the Jeh Johnson nomination for Homeland Security. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with more.